Welcome back to ReadingBear. Today, we will take a look at some new EntitledPeople stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first one is titled, My Mum is a Karen that relies on essential oils. A bit of backstory. My mum was absolutely wonderful whenever I was younger. She would tip very well, be courteous, and just in general have respect for people. She doesn't have the full-blown Karen haircut, but she does have the attitude of one. She has blown up numerous times at service workers because of small things, and I have apologized a few times in my life and told her off about that. When my mum turned 45, my sister started selling essential oils on Etsy, so my mum started buying some to support her. After she started, it seemed she couldn't stop. She started out small, using lemon oil in her tea and making the occasional paste using coconut oil and lavender. Currently she has learned how to make capsules and to use different oils for different symptoms that is supposed to be diluted with olive oil. This will be important later. The more my mum got into essential oils and reading on what they do, the more she wanted to say her opinion on my health. I have sciatic nerve pain because I have scoliosis, where your spine is curved, an iron deficiency, and something wrong with my throat that hasn't been diagnosed yet. She just feels the need to tell me that my problems can all be cured by her oils, and that's exactly what she tried to do. I was telling her that I have been feeling some pain in my lower back, which is common, and asked her if she would help me pop my back. She decided to give me a capsule that had turmeric oil and black pepper oil that is safe to consume. However, she didn't dilute the capsule correctly, and after an hour I had severe heartburn. And complained to my mum about it. I just so happened to be on my cycle, so she used that as an excuse to my heartburn. The next day I took the capsule again because it was in a pile with my daily vitamins and didn't really think about it. I was out of the house and had heartburn for over 6 hours while I was out of the house and didn't stop until I woke up the next morning. I asked her if I could stop taking the oil pills she gave me, and she complied, but she didn't understand why I would want to. I told her I never had heartburn during my cycle and I knew that it was because of the capsule that she gave me. She seemed almost hurt that I wouldn't take something she gave me. Keep in mind I am an adult now and she is now 50. My boyfriend was ready to tell her off because of how much pain I was in. The next one is titled, My Mother and Brother Have Terrorized Me for Years. Am I wrong here? This may be long, everyone, and support will be appreciated. I'm a 24F and I have been dating my 25M boyfriend for 9 years. This is important later on. My mother is an older woman. She had me at 40 years old and I have 3 older brothers. One of which is 9 years my senior. Let's call him G. He went to college and obtained his bachelor's in accounting. I got my bachelor's in social work and I am in graduate school for higher education. All in which I have paid for out of pocket. I have over 70k in loans because my mother was going through hard times, although she has land and houses in other states and Jamaica. In short, G and my mum hate my boyfriend and have always hated him. We started dating in high school and he was very respectful of my mother, but she said my spirit doesn't like him. She and my brother devised multiple plans to split us up, while my mother was always physically and emotionally abusive towards me and G growing up. The difference between me and G is that I never followed the path my mother wanted me to take. In turn, she would threaten to make sure I wouldn't get loans for college, and barely helped me otherwise. It was completely different for G. He was able to get through college without debt, work at a job he hates, and now he has a wife and daughter. There are 2 stories of entitlement that I wanna get into, but I'll only post this one, that's the most recent. If you wanna know more, let me know and I'll post it as well. This issue happened last November. My brother and his wife invited me to their baby shower. We live about 10 minutes away from one another and of course my mother was invited. She lives about 9 hours away and she needed someone to host her for the time being. I asked her to stay at my brother's house because I am currently living in a 1-bedroom apartment with my boyfriend and 2 cats. There's just not enough space for us, let alone her. She also disrespects him constantly, even though I tell her how much I love him and that I will not be leaving him anytime soon. I knew that this would cause conflict because it always does. She said that she swore that she wouldn't cause any problems and that she's only staying for a few days, so it doesn't matter. I reluctantly told my boyfriend that she was coming to stay with us and he was furious. I told him that there was no stopping it unfortunately and we just have to put up with her for 3 days. He begrudgingly agreed but told me that if she starts any issues that she can't stay with us. Fast forward to the day of her arrival, it was midterms and I had a huge paper to write. I was working 3 jobs at the time and I was exhausted. At the time my boyfriend was working part-time as a front desk assistant while I go to school. He pays majority of the bills while only working part-time. I came home and called her to see when she would be arriving. She told me that she was at G's house and that she won't be arriving for another 6 hours. I sighed with relief because I could take a much-needed nap before cleaning up the house. My boyfriend and I slept for a bit and then my phone rings. It was my mother. "I'll be there in 5 minutes, I look at the clock in panic. It had only been 2 hours. Not 6. I jumped up and told my boyfriend. He was so unimpressed. She arrives, and here it goes, "This place is filthy, don't you care about your home? I can't stay in a place like this. Take this boy to the store and buy proper cleaning supplies so that I can clean this place." I told her that I had just come from a 12-hour day of classes and work and that I was too tired to go to the store. I told her that I washed her sheets and got her a pillow in order for her to be comfortable on the couch. We can figure out cleaning the next day. She was irate. "No, you are going to go to the store now because I am your mother and I am telling you to. I will not stay in a filthy home." Mind you, we pre-cleaned by making sure both litter boxes were clean and we made sure the common area was pretty decent for her to reside. While she was screaming, one of my cats decided to commit the ultimate sin, going to the bathroom. That's disgusting, clean this now, I will not sleep next to cat poop." I told her that she knew I had 2 cats and that we can't scoop right after they use the bathroom every time. I gave up arguing and practically dragged my boyfriend to the store and used my last $30 to buy cleaning supplies. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. We get back to the house and she has completely destroyed it. In the 45 minutes it took for us to get to the store, she had pulled everything from its place. The kitchen, the bedroom, the living room, and my closet. Everything was in a pile on the floor. The cats were nowhere to be seen because they were terrified of this stranger coming in and destroying their home. My boyfriend was livid. Mostly because in her reign of chaos she emptied out the cat's food and water dish. He asked her why she did that and OMG guys, she took off. "How dare you ask me any questions, boy? You're the reason why she's living like this. You don't do anything and I will spit on you as soon as I'm done here." I sat down with a mix of shock, anxiety, and exhaustion while they argued back and forth with each other. She's calling him a bum and a piece of poop, and he's telling her that she has no right to come into his home and disrespect us both. She laughed and told him that she'll call G and they can fight it out. My boyfriend told her that if that man comes near him or I that he won't be walking away without severe injury. She used that and called G, telling him that "I'm not safe here, that boy is threatening my life and your sister isn't doing anything about it." I told her to give me the phone and I calmly told him that I would drop our mother at his house and that he would have to deal with her. He is irate and screaming that he's coming over to kick my boyfriend's ass and all of this crap. I told him to stop and calm down. He hung up on me after telling me that he's on his way over to my apartment. I'm panicking at this point and my boyfriend picks up her bags to happily walk them downstairs for her. She grabs at the bags and tells him not to touch them. They argue until my brother calls my mother to come downstairs. I pick up her bags to get her out and she knocks them out of my hands and runs downstairs. She brings my brother to my door and I tell them from behind the door to leave or else I would call the police. They say they just want to get her bags and I slightly crack the door open to toss them out. G then rushes the door, pushes me down and runs into my apartment to get at my boyfriend. My boyfriend goes into our bedroom to protect himself and my brother kicked down my bedroom door. No bullpoop, straight off the hinges. My boyfriend is in the room not surprised and proceeds to pull his pocket knife out and tells him to back up or he's getting sliced. My brother is a pussy and jumps behind our mum for protection. They argue back and forth while I'm looking at my property damage and I scream, "Get out of my house. Get out." They then take my gifts for the baby shower. And my brother yells, Don't come tomorrow, you're not welcome at the baby shower." They leave and my house is a mess. By the way, I forgot to mention that my mother started taking pictures of the mess that she made in order to tell people that I was living in an awful situation, which wasn't the truth. Luckily I grabbed her phone and deleted the pictures. The aftermath: a few days go by and my brother calls me to tell me that he will no longer be paying my phone bill, and I begged him not to cut it off because I was already broke and having a hard time keeping up with bills already. I also have had the same number for years and I didn't want to change it. I told him that he has to pay for the property damage that he did to my home, and he hung up on me and disconnected my phone within 30 minutes of asking for compensation. Luckily, I figured this would eventually happen and I saved up enough money to start my own plan. I haven't spoken to him since. My mother and I have not mended our relationship. I blocked her number and her email address in order for me to check on her when I am ready. I started to call her once a week to make sure she was okay, and it began to dawn on me that this has been my life for years and that I wasn't going to take it anymore. I stopped calling. She started crying every day and telling people to get in contact with me. Even to the point of threatening to tell my aunt not to speak to me anymore if I didn't call her more, and that God will stop caring for you if you keep treating me this way. I have had to go to therapy, and I demanded that she pay for my door. She agreed and she paid for the damages. Am I wrong for cutting my family off? I feel guilty because the COVID-19 pandemic is running rampant where she lives and I haven't contacted her to see if she's safe. My niece was born and I never received a phone call, photo, or anything. I'm devastated because I really wanted to have a bond with my niece, but I feel like that will never happen now. The next one is entitled Mother Lets Her Kid Steal My Blind Cane. So, a bit of backstory: I am a 28-year-old woman who just recently went fully blind. When I was a teenager, I volunteered with my local youth group to help rebuild Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina, and while down there I picked up a fungal parasite called histoplasmosis that over a decade migrated to my eyes and slowly caused blindness. I've been totally blind for about a year now, so I'm pretty new to it, but I digress. When I first went blind, I barely left the house and was afraid to go in public. I felt like everyone was staring at me, and in all honesty I barely knew what I was doing. The transition had been difficult and I didn't have any support group to teach me. One day my husband asks if I can take an Uber down to the bank and deposit a rent check, and I reluctantly agree. While out, he messages again and reminds me that we're out of a few crucial groceries. There was a Walmart grocery literally across the street from the bank, so I figure everything in life is an experience and I'll have to learn how to shop alone eventually, so why not? Everything was fine at first and I was only grabbing a few things, so I didn't need a cart. I was using my cane and what little echolocation skills I had at the time to get around, but was still bumping into things as we blind tend to do sometimes. My cane suddenly hit something a bit softer and I figure maybe I had whacked someone's leg and apologize. Q entitled Kid, EK, and entitled Mother, M. Me, shoot, I'm sorry. M, hey. You just hit my son. Me, I'm so sorry, ma'am, I didn't see him there. M begins yelling, how could you not see him, he's clearly right here. Now I'm fully blind, but I don't wear sunglasses. Mostly because I can't afford a good UV blocking pair, but also I'm not ever looking for pity or to play the part of a generic blind person. I just want to be treated like a normal person, but I do understand her confusion as blindness is a spectrum, so I try to calmly explain. Me, ma'am, I'm blind, I can't see anything, let alone your son. That's why I have to use the cane, so I can get around without. She cuts me off, if you're blind, why aren't you wearing big sunglasses? Now, as a blind person I get a lot of stupid questions, but I understand a lot of them are just people who don't know better, so I try to happily answer as many as I can. Me, those are really expensive, around $200 for a good pair, and I really don't need any inside. M, you're not blind, you're faking it. Here is where my blood starts to boil. I can't think of any reason someone would want to pretend to be blind. It's an actual hell, and nothing pisses me off more than when someone calls me a liar when I'm not. Just as I'm about to respond, I feel a tug, and before I blink I realize this little demon spawn has snatched my $100 cane from my hands. For those of you who don't understand, that's like if you're shopping and suddenly the power goes out and you can't see a single light. Without my cane, I can barely move at all without crashing into anything. My voice gets shaky as I begin to panic. Please give that back. I really do need it. M, no you don't, you liar. My son deserves to play with this more than you. I hear her shuffle away and my expensive cane cracking into metal displays and such as they leave. I start crying and waving my arms in front of me to grab onto something, anything, and end up crashing and falling into a center aisle display, making a loud scene. Without fail I somewhat curl into a ball and cry. I'm alone in public, in the dark, and I had no idea what to do. Suddenly I feel a hand on my shoulder and a man's voice, we'll call him Ag for awesome guy, asks if I'm okay and to stay right here. I do, but begin to at least sit up and listen. This man must have been tall and built like a tank because his footsteps sounded like a giant and I felt a suction of wind when he took off. Maybe about 30 or 40 feet away I hear this loud bellowing like an angry lion and a loud crash, then before I know it the man is back and helping me to my feet. He takes my hand and puts my cane into my palm and helps me pick up the items I dropped when I fell into the display. Me wiping tears from my cheeks, thank you so much, I didn't know how to handle that. Ag, don't worry about it, some people are just monsters. This guy restored my faith in humanity and even helped me finish shopping and helped me out of the store. As we're leaving, I can hear the familiar screeching of something about Ag grabbing the cane and pulling hard, flinging her little devil child into a shopping cart. I don't know if she was exaggerating or not, but it would explain the crash I heard. It's easy to feel alone in a world without sight, but even through the sheer terror of being stripped of my cane, at least I know now that there are people willing to stand up for me when I need it. The next one is titled, EP Demands for Specific Pricing and Gets Angry. I'm not sure if this fits here or not, but this story happened when I was still a CSR, customer service representative or a call center agent, for a certain healthcare, pharmaceutical company overseas. I worked from 9 p.m. my time to around 5 a.m., and it was a graveyard shift with shifting schedules, which meant that this week, I could be working 9 to 5 then 10 to 7 and so on. I had good customers, callers, but I had really crappy ones too. So aside from the fact that it was bad for my physical health, it was not doing my emotional and mental health any favors. One crappy call that has clearly imprinted on me was that one EP who had the audacity to waste my time when I was in queuing. For context, when we say queuing, it means that as soon as you finish a call, there's another one waiting. The opposite of that is avail, when there are 2 to 10 minutes or more, even hours, before you get a call. At the company I worked for, we had to be able to help our callers within 5 minutes maximum. If it goes over that, we get a deduction in our scores, and you need a high score in order to get a good standing, because if you've got a good standing, you get bonuses and incentives. Back to the story. I receive a call during queuing time. This was around 11 to 1 a.m. This person had gone through the IVRU process, so I just need to confirm who it is. Me, hi. This is Op. Thank you for calling us. How may I assist you today? EP, hello. She sounds a bit uninterested. I would like to have you check the price of this medicine for me. Can you do that? Me, in my best, eager to please and pleasant voice, of course. I'd be glad to help. Before I check the medicine, I would to access your account properly. May I have your name and your ID number, please? EP, scoffs, I already gave it. Why do you need it? Me, it's so I would be able to get the correct account, since I see a few accounts here. This was a lie. I have her account open, but I had been told not to say this is protocol because it would make the agents sound stiff and not friendly, etc. May I please have your name and ID, ma'am? EP impatiently gives me her info and it checks out. Me, thank you for your cooperation, ma'am. Now, you said earlier that you wanted me to check on the price of a specific medicine, right? EP, that's correct. Me, okay. Could you tell me the name? EP, it's, insert generic name of medication. It should be there on my account. Now, it would have been much easier if she gave me the branded name, since she was definitely not looking for the generic one, and the dosage. Me, alright, I'll go check your account first. And as I checked, it was not on her account. I inform her of this, but tell her that I can still check the price for her in the closest pharmacy. Aside from being my caller being dismissive and impatient, there really wasn't much to note from this call, until I see a lot of brands and dosages pop up on my screen. Well, poop. Me, well ma'am, the medicine wasn't in your account, however, the good news is I have a list of the medicines with the EP, no. I want the specific one. Me, okay. Could you tell me the brand name and dosage? At this point, EP sighs and calls me an idiot under her breath. Lady, I need the specifics if you want specifics. I was gonna read you all of your options, both generic and branded, so you would pick the cheaper one if you wanted to, or you'd recognize which medicine you want and we'd be over this. EP, my son had it too. You should check his account. Me, okay ma'am, could you please tell me your son's name? Is he also under your plan? She irritatedly gives me his name, Dob, and every other thing. It checks out, but lo and behold, he doesn't have the medication under his history either. To make things worse, he was not a minor. I am not really allowed to read off his medications without his verbal permission, even to his parents. I was lucky it wasn't there. Me, I am so sorry, ma'am. It seems that your son wasn't under this plan when he got the medicine since there's no record. I could still go relay the prices of your options for EP went ballistic. EP, oh my god. How hard is it to look up medication prices? Me, physically flinching, I'm sorry ma'am, but you kept asking me for a specific medicine and I had offered to tell you the prices of your options. If you're looking for a specific medicine, I could contact one of our pharmacists to help you. We ask pharmacists for help when the customer doesn't know what the name of the medicine is but knows what it's for. EP, I don't care. Are you stupid? I said give me the specific medication price. That's not rocket science. And she goes off to yell at someone, presumably beside her. EP, can you hear this dumb witch? She can't even find one specific medicine. Person beside them responds, she's so stupid I know. She can't find it. What a dumb witch. She repeats this a few more times and continues to insult me by talking to the person beside her and saying how dumb I was to not be able to find the medicine. I was smiling, but I was having a really long shift and this interaction is already 5 minutes long. She still continues to ignore me while I try to get her attention. That doesn't work and I stop trying for about a minute and resign myself that this will be a long call. My supervisor noticed that the call was going past the time limit and checked on me and mouthed, going overtime. Hurry. 5 queuing. Now, we call center agents have the magical power to mute ourselves. And I did just that and took a deep breath to calm myself down, and then snarled at the mic and the phone and swore up a storm. My coworkers actually looked over at me since I rarely swore and since my first language was English, I was using words that they weren't familiar with. By the time I had swore for at least 15 seconds, I unmuted and responded in my sweetest, most cheerful voice. Me, hello? Ma'am? EP, what? Did you finally find the medicine? It's not rocket science. Yes, she used that phrase a lot. Me, I found the list of medicines that match the description ma'am. If you would like, I would read the medications. EP, how stupid are you? It's not that hard to look for a medicine and find its price. It's not rocket science. The person beside her talks but I couldn't hear them over the earpiece, I know right? Apparently it's impossible to look for a medicine that specific. Me, ma'am, if you want the specific price for specific medicine, you'd need to tell me the exact brand name and dosage. I can read the list and we can figure it out. FREP, can't you see I'm in a hurry? Just give me the damn medicine price. Me, ma'am, I've offered to read these to you, since I wasn't provided with the exact specifics and there's no record. I would gladly list all of the prices. EP, I said give me the price of specific medication. Again, she didn't give me the branded name, just the generic, and not even the dosage. This entire thing repeated back and forth for the next few minutes until she finally let out a loud, angry groan. EP, it's less than branded name of medication greater than with a dosage of less than specific dosage greater than C? She actually knows and just didn't want to be troubled to remember it. Lovely lady. Wouldn't accept my help in listing all the prices, yet expects me to be able to read into her mind and hunt out specifics. I continue speaking in my pleasant, eager to help voice. Me, okay ma'am. Thank you so much for that information, let me just get the price for you. EP, finally. Was that so hard? You're dumb. Oh my god. You wasted so much time. You can't even look up specific medication without it being told to you. That wasn't rocket science, right? It wasn't that hard. You're so stupid. Oh my god. This is BULLPOOP. You're BULLPOOP. Lady, if you're so entitled you can't even recognize your own bullpoop, then that's on you. I had offered to read the list of medications and their prices, but you refused. You want to hear specifics and refuse to give me specifics, but I'm the one wasting your time? By the way, it's important because some branded medicines are more expensive than other brands and generic medication, not to mention some customers are allergic to certain brands but not others, so I just list them if the customer is unsure of the name because usually, they know the generic but want to buy the branded one, or I redirect them to the pharmacy so THR pharmacist can join the call and we can talk about the customer's options etc. She refused pharmacist. She refused me listing the prices. She continues to insult me and yell into the about how dumb I was. It had been more than 12 minutes now. My patience was thin, but I was forcing the smile. Me, okay. Thank you so much for waiting. The price of specific medicine with a dosage of XX is XX dollars. Is there anything I can do? EP, no. You're dumb. Goodbye. And she slammed the phone down. I could swear it was a landline phone because I heard the mouthpiece crack into plastic before the call dropped. I remember shaking my head and closing the account before accepting the next call. Later, I told my coworkers about the incident since I was still fuming. I was still pretty new to the job, probably 3 months in, and not as thick-skinned or as used to entitled customers as my coworkers. Me and my coworkers were sharing stories from the shift and how amused they were to see me go from angry psycho to sweet angel as I told them the incident. My senior laughed at me. You should have just insisted with listing all the prices. That would have saved you a lot of time since she seems to think you can read minds and figure out exactly what she needs without her giving enough information. My supervisor was having a laugh at the situation too, though they were all giving me sympathetic looks. He said, at least she said goodbye. This isn't uncommon in our line of work, but gods did that EP piss me off. She made my job so much harder and infuriating.